No one warns you about the kind of heartbreak that doesn't explode but instead wears you down. It doesn't arrive with shouting, slammed doors, or tears flooding the floor. No, this type drifts in quietly, like a cold draft sneaking under a shut window. It begins in silence, in the empty pauses during conversations, in the missing laughter that once filled the air so easily. It's the slow fading of someone still standing right beside you. I met Emily 5 years ago in a little bookstore cafe hidden on a quiet street. She sat by the window, tucked into a corner seat, lost inside the bell jar. Her hands cupped a chipped mug of black coffee. She carried a gentle, almost longing smile, the kind that made her seem as if she belonged to some calm, distant world. I'm not sure what pushed me to approach her, but I did. And somehow a passing comment about Sylvia Plath unraveled into a 3-hour talk that felt less like meeting someone new and more like continuing a story that had paused. She was a striking contradiction, steady but passionate, open yet mysterious in ways that made you want to learn her. I didn't fall for her slowly. It happened instantly, and I didn't fight it. Loving her felt like breathing freely at last. In the beginning, everything flowed with ease. She'd message me midday just to say she missed me. We'd fall asleep tangled together, cook big meals only to end up dancing barefoot in the kitchen while soft R&B played in the background. Once, she rested her head on my chest and whispered, "This is where I feel safest." I trusted those words completely. That closeness, that warmth, became the center around which my whole life spun. But not everything breaks with a crash. Sometimes love unravels piece by piece while you're still gripping tightly. It didn't begin with an argument. It began with something missing. A spark gone from her eyes. A kiss that barely touched. A hand that lingered less each time. I told myself it was stress. Exhaustion. I convinced myself love came in seasons, so I tried harder. I made her favorite dishes after long days. Left notes on her mirror that read things like, "You're my calm in the storm." I wasn't asking for big gestures, just a spark, a small sign of closeness again. But even those efforts felt like tossing paper airplanes at a brick wall. She started pulling away from simple affection. A morning kiss turned into her cheek. Her hugs grew thin, more like duty than desire. She rolled away in bed, claiming she was too tired. The silence between us grew heavier, filled with something neither of us dared name. I gave her space, didn't push, but deep down I knew. We were quietly falling apart, without a single shout. Then came the moment that shattered the illusion.
It was a still Sunday morning.
We planned to visit her parents. I shaved, wore the cologne she once said smelled like safety. She dressed in the navy blouse I always said lit up her eyes. As we walked to the door, I leaned in gently for a kiss. Nothing dramatic, just love in its simplest form. She pulled back, flinched like I was a stranger stepping too close.
"Don't kiss me," she said.
No anger, no reason, just cold detachment. I froze mid-motion, my hand hanging in the air like a question no one wanted to answer. And I said nothing. I didn't ask why. I didn't plead. I simply nodded, stepped past her, grabbed my keys, and left. That was the Betrayal goodbye. Not in words, but in the silence left behind. I drove for hours until I ended up at the overlook we used to visit at the start of us. The place where we once dreamed of the future, children, travel, a home with wide windows and golden mornings. Sitting on the hood of my car, staring at the city, I realized I had already lost her long before that Sunday. I just hadn't faced it. Something inside me shut off that day. Not from anger, but from finality. I didn't announce it. I didn't need to. My silence became the message. After that, I stopped reaching, stopped trying. I moved through the house like a visitor, ate quietly, slept on the far edge of the bed. It wasn't passive, it was intentional. I had stopped waiting for her to care. I no longer searched her face for love. The version of me who held on, who begged in the dark for her to return, vanished the moment she said, "Don't kiss me." Strangely, the silence that once crushed me began to feel like relief. She noticed the change, and it unsettled her. I could feel her eyes on me again. Once, I caught her scrolling through my phone, something she had never done. She started wearing makeup more often, even when we had no plans. She cooked my favorite pasta, texted me during work, asked about my meetings. I thanked her, but the walls stayed. She suggested brunch, like old times. I told her I had plans. And I did. I drove north, hiked alone, sat beside a still lake. For the first time in months, I didn't feel lonely. I felt free. When I returned, she was waiting in the living room, wrapped in the gray sweater I once loved. A candle burned. Music played. "Where were you?" she asked. "Just out." "With who?" "Just me." She looked like she wanted to say more, but I didn't let the door open. That became our new rhythm, her reaching me unmoved. A few days later, she brushed past and said, "You smell good." I nodded. "Thanks." Then I walked away. And I saw it land. Her realizing the emptiness she once gave me now surrounded her. She started sending little messages. "Dinner tonight? Wanna watch something?" I answered kindly, but never first. I let her sit in the silence that had drowned me, because by then I had already mourned. I had grieved the woman who once laughed while stirring pasta, who once looked at me like I was her favorite view. That woman was gone. I had stopped looking for her. One night, a notification lit up my phone. "I miss us." I didn't freeze, didn't ache. It was just quiet confirmation of what I already knew. She finally saw the damage, the distance. She had spent months pushing me away, resisting closeness, and now she wanted what she thought was still waiting. The next morning, she brewed coffee for both of us, placed the mug in front of me. "I know I've been far," she whispered. "I want to fix this." I looked at her, really looked. She was still beautiful, but something was gone, not from her, from me. The star had shifted. I gave a soft smile, sipped, stood, kissed her forehead gently, the way I once longed for, and said, "We'll talk soon." It wasn't a lie, but not a promise either. Now she was the one waiting, and I had nothing left to give. She tried harder, candles, old playlists, the perfume I once adored. She brushed my hand while I washed dishes,